United States announced a new $400 million military aid package for Ukraine on Friday, just as it appears Russia has launched a significant offensive in Kharkiv. The package, which will involve transferring weapons already in U.S. stocks, includes new Patriot missiles, Stinger anti-aircraft missiles, Bradley fighting vehicles, mine-protected vehicles, Javelin anti-armor systems, and other munitions. This is Ukraine's third tranche of aid since Congress passed supplemental funding in late April after months of gridlock. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warned Thursday that his country was facing a really difficult situation in the east, but he said a new supply of U.S. weapons was coming and that we will be able to stop them. The National Security Council didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. The information in Friday's package was according to two U.S. officials, a person familiar with the matter, and a notification sent to Congress obtained by Politico. The people were granted anonymity to speak ahead of the official announcement. The Biden administration had assessed that Ukraine could at most hold its lines without American aid, but could claw back some seized territory from Russia once it received the U.S.-provided weapons. Ukraine faces yet another brutal test as Russia on Friday launched a ground attack in the northeastern Kharkiv region. Russia has begun a new wave of counteroffensive actions in this direction, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told reporters Friday. Ukraine has met them there with our troops, brigades, and artillery. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry announced it would swiftly send reserve units to the region to help repel the attack. In March, Russian President Vladimir Putin vowed to create a sanitary zone that would help protect his forces against long-range Ukrainian attacks that occasionally strike targets inside sovereign Russian territory. Russian military bloggers suggested the Kharkiv offensive was part of that long-promised effort. The U.S. secretly sent a significant number of long-range Army tactical missile systems to Ukraine in April, with Kyiv using the weapon at least twice before the transfer became public. That delivery followed the provision of similarly long-range missiles from the United Kingdom and France to Ukraine. During a visit to Washington on Thursday, German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius announced that his government would send 3 more high-mobility artillery rocket systems to Ukraine. They come from U.S. Armed Forces stocks and will be paid by us, he said, following a meeting with Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Ukraine has 20 of the systems, which can launch long-range Army tactical missile systems and other precision munitions, but has lost several to Russian fire in recent months. ADM Anthony Radakin, UK's chief of the defense staff, told reporters in Washington on Thursday that by June, Russia will have lost 500,000 troops killed or wounded in Ukraine, and that despite losing some territory this year, Kyiv retains the strategic upper hand, now that more military aid is flowing from the U.S. and allies. Russia's new offensive into Ukraine's frontier, Kharkiv Oblast, appears to be establishing a buffer zone for Moscow's troops in the northeastern region. Kyiv scrambles to respond to the operation and Russia's delayed Western military aid to the front. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, reported on Monday evening that Russian units continued to make tactically significant advances north and northeast of Kharkiv City on May 13th, and currently appear to be prioritizing the rapid establishment of a buffer zone along the international border over setting conditions for deeper penetrations into northern Kharkiv Oblast. A map published by the ISW showed the Russian cross-border push stretching around 40 miles from the frontier settlements of Hoptivka, north of Kharkiv City, to Vovchansk, northeast of the city. The fighting is taking place less than 15 miles from Kharkiv, Ukraine's second city and, before the full-scale invasion, home to more than 1.4 million people. Kharkiv has been under regular bombardment since February 2022 and is a prime Russian strategic goal, given its logistical and political significance. Newsweek has emailed the Russian Defense Ministry to request comment. The creation of a buffer zone along the Kharkiv border has also often been proposed within Russia, particularly as a response to cross-frontier raids by Kyiv-aligned Russian fighters. For example, Russia's ambassador to the U.S., Anatoly Antonov, said this week that the military needs to move the military threat away from the borders of the Russian Federation. No compromises when it comes to our national security are unacceptable. The destruction of several bridges across the Vovcha River inside Ukraine supports the buffer zone theory, the ISW wrote. It is unclear why Russian forces would largely target bridges they would need to cross and ensure stable logistics across the Vovcha River for offensive operations deeper into northern Kharkiv Oblast. So these strikes suggest that Russian forces may be prioritizing immediate gains in an unfortified area of northern Ukraine. Moscow's units have deployed armor in the area, ISW said, though seemingly not as part of an effort to drive toward Kharkiv. The deployment of armored assets in this area suggests that Russian forces are seeking to make rapid gains, the think tank added, but they do not appear to be setting conditions at this time for such gains to be on the southern side of the Vovcha River, deeper into northern Kharkiv Oblast.
Rapid Russian gains in Kharkiv have prompted frustration in Ukraine, which for months has been focused on attritional defensive combat in the eastern Donetsk and Luhansk regions. The re-entry of Russian forces into the country's northeast has raised questions about the quality of Ukrainian defenses there. The Ukrainian army has said there is a multi-layered network of defenses in the area capable of stymieing the Russian assault. The current pace of Russian advances on this axis is not necessarily indicative of the further offensive capabilities of the Russian forces conducting the offensive operations, although Russia reportedly retains considerable reserves available to exploit initial successes on this axis, the ISW wrote on Monday.